Hello and welcome to PodcastDX, the show that brings you interviews with people just like you whose lives were forever changed by a medical diagnosis.
I'm Lita.
I'm Ron.
And I'm Jean Marie.
Collectively, we're the hosts of PodcastDX.
On this episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with Marc. Marc has dedicated his life to inspiring, motivating, and empowering others, be it in gyms, schools, and youth detention centers, or even major corporations. Marc is passionate about helping people live happier, healthier, and more meaningful lives. And he is also a kidney dialysis patient and in need of a kidney donation. So we're looking at you guys out there. If you can donate a kidney, you're in good health, you might want to get in touch with Marc and see about a kidney donation.
Hello, Marc. This is Lita. Thank you for being on the show. We also have Ron here with us today.
Marc, hi. How are you today?
Hey, how you guys doing? How you doing, Ron? Hi, Lita.
Hi. Really doing well.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Marc. To start off with, in case our listeners aren't sure what we're talking about, what is a dialysis patient?
Oh, so a dialysis patient is an individual who goes into a treatment center 3 times a week for either 3 or 4 hours a day. And what it does is actually cleans your blood. So they hook you up to a machine, and what that does is take out all the toxins that you develop for the other days that you're not on dialysis. And so yeah, it's just a process of going in there every other day, 3 hours a day, and having to really change your life for moving forward as far as, you know, having to do day-to-day things and incorporating dialysis as a treatment, you know?
Well,
Right.
it is a big chunk of your week then, though, right?
Yeah, I was just realizing that it's actually a part-time job when you go on dialysis, because you got to consider 3 hours while you're getting treatment, an hour to get there, an hour to get back, and we're looking at about 2 to 3 hours to really get rejuvenated right back to your normal self. And sometimes some people don't even get that, you know? So if we did the math, we're doing 3 hours a day, 2 hours there and back, and an additional 2 hours to recover. We're looking at 8 hours a day.
That's a full-time job.
3. Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
So to my equivalency, I was doing the math with somebody, and it was really literally 20 hours a week that I'm on dialysis. So that's my thing as far as what I've been going through, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and can you tell us what actually is dialysis? What does it do?
What does it do? It actually just really cleans the blood. So when I'm in there, I tend to ask so many questions, and they put us on so many different diets. So you have your phosphorus, your potassium, we look at your creatinine levels and all this other stuff. So weekly, bi-weekly, we're doing tests to make sure that the dialysis treatment is actually working on our behalf, you know? Because sometimes it might be too much, sometimes it might be too little. And when we go in there, what we actually do is we have to weigh ourselves to see how much water they can take out from the dialysis machine.
Oh, wow. So it's all going to be based on an individual person and what their needs are.
Right. So for me, since I'm on kidney dialysis, they have me on. So some people can only take 3 kilos of water, some 2, some even just 1. You know, they put us on a water restriction diet, which means that I can only literally have about 2 liters of water a day before they take it out, and they take out 2 kilos of water when I'm on dialysis. So you do the math, and a lot of people don't know this, but when you're on dialysis, most people can't urinate anymore. So I've been on dialysis now for about 1.5 years, and I haven't even urinated since.
Oh, I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah, so that's something that's really that we got to really share with people, is that, like, when you're on dialysis, it's not just about, like, going to a dialysis center, getting your blood cleaned. I mean, there's things like you can't urinate anymore. Your diet, you have to restrict that. Your phosphorus, you have to take pills every time you eat, which are called phosphorus binders. And what those do is eliminate the phosphorus in your food so that you don't become itchy or you don't get red eyes when you eat certain foods. I got to stay away from high phosphorus and high potassium foods like bananas, potatoes, anything dark liquid like Coca-Cola, things of that nature. So it's been a very huge discipline, and I really thank everybody that's on dialysis, because I look at them and we just have a certain understanding for each other. Like, man, I know what you go through on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
and most lay people would not understand that.
You can commiserate with them.
Yeah.
You have a lot of empathy for them because you know what they're going through.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what's really funny about all this stuff is that when I wasn't diagnosed with kidney failure and I was living a day-to-day life, I always wanted to feel accepted to a community, and this is just human nature. We want to feel accepted with certain people we're around, and the kidney community, when I was diagnosed, accepted me with open arms, and it was just all love, and everyone understood what I was going through.
That's great.
You know, day to day, everyone's, oh, I understand what you're going through. But when you get on the other side of being on dialysis, kidney failure, you really get the understanding in the sense of people really understanding what you're going through on a day-to-day basis, you know?
Sure.
It's not like, oh, hey, I'm sorry you're going through that. I feel compassion for you. When you're, like, next to somebody who's also fighting their life, you're like, man, I know exactly what you feel like, you know?
Yeah.
And as a personal trainer, I'm a personal trainer, right? So I go from the most healthiest to the most sickest in the matter of, like, 2 minutes. I came up with this phrase: a healthy person has 1,000 wishes, a sick person has one.
To be healthy.
You know? And that was from just learning that I went from a dialysis center to a gym, back to a dialysis center, back to a gym, and I got to see the understanding of human psyche when a person is so healthy, how many wishes they have, compared to someone who's sick with that only one wish of just being healthy again.
I understand. Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What symptoms led you to the doctor in the first place? What caused this dialysis to start?
You know what? My father just told me, he said, hey, son, you're going to turn 26. You're not going to be on my medical insurance policy anymore. I want you to go get a routine physical.
Oh.
And he said, look, just go get a routine physical. You're in shape. And I was actually trying to get ready for a fight.
Okay.
And so I was trying to get for a competitive boxing a professional fight. And this is going to be my introduction to the pros, as well as an introduction to a clean slate on my 26th birthday. And I went into the doctor. I said, Doc, don't waste your time. I mean, I'm fine. I'm completely healthy. You have nothing to worry about. I run 3 hours. I run every morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. So that's a 2-hour run. I go back to sleep, wake up, eat my breakfast. I mean, I was in the top shape that I could possibly be in as an athlete, as a competitor, as just someone who was on his P's and Q's when it came to being a professional athlete, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doctor calls me 3 days later and says, Mark, your blood levels came back fine except for one, your creatinine level.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to make sure, because, you know, we don't want to make sure that we didn't make a mistake. And sure enough, they're like, well, we need to get you into a biopsy, and we want to make sure that you are okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we set up a biopsy, and, you know, they numb. So I'm going to go through the full process of what a biopsy is for a kidney.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
So what they did was I went into this biopsy, and they start putting a type of radiation around my kidney area with some type of gel, so that they can get an observation of what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is nothing. But I didn't realize that wasn't the biopsy. That was just a picture to see. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I thought that was the biopsy.
Okay.
Done. This is something very unfamiliar for me. So
Right.
I didn't realize what it took. So then they said, Mark, well, now you got to get into a gown, and we're going to have to bring you upstairs, because they're going to have to, we're going to actually have to start the biopsy. And what that consists of is like a 12-gauge needle, and it's so long, and you stick it in between I had to lay face down, and we stick it in my kidneys. They numbed it. They had an x-ray, and, you know, all you hear is click, and then it takes a piece out of my kidney. So they said, Mark, go back to your room. And it was probably the worst pain I've ever felt. Like, I didn't realize taking a piece of kidney out of your body.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about a small piece. Not even. I mean, it's probably big as a piece of gum, or smaller than that. I was in bed rest for about 3 days. I was like, I can't move. This thing really hurts. And the doctor comes back and says, Mark, sit down. We need to talk about my family. And he said, you know what? You're diagnosed with FSGS, which is focal segmental sclerosis, narcosis or something. It's such a long terminology, and what it pretty much breaks down to is scarring the kidney. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? Am I going to die? I mean, to me, I thought it was like cancer. I thought it was AIDS. I thought it was something that I'm going to just die tomorrow. Because people aren't aware until they're actually going through the actual disease what something is, right?
Sure. Of course, yeah.
So, you go through this full depression state, this whole anxiety, this whole like, why me? Why did I was testing even my faith, like, why did you pick me? I got the small stick of the straw, and I just bartered. I did everything to the doctors, like, are you sure this is right? I mean, I got second, third opinion, and they just confirm you have kidney failure. So for the next 8 years, I'm fighting kidney failure. I couldn't compete box competitively, so I needed to find out what can I do outside of boxing. And then I was already personal training part-time. I was also in school. I went to school to be a paramedic EMT, so I knew the human body a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know to how degree that I would know kidney failure and how I do now,
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is for the last 8 years, I've been fighting it, thinking that I can stay in shape and get healthy in hopes that my kidney will get better. I eat well. I stay away from some things to get my high blood pressure low, just things like that. But what I didn't realize is the kidneys are the only organ in the human body that can't heal. Did you know that?
They cannot heal themselves.
It cannot heal themselves. So the kidney is the only organ in the body that cannot heal itself. So once it starts to fail, and you have a couple years before you get on dialysis. And that's what I did.
Okay.
I wrote it till my wheels fell off. The doctor said, you know what? I remember this day very clearly because it was literally a month before my birthday. I went into the doctor. He said, Mark, you have literally about a month and a half before someone gives you a kidney or you get on dialysis. And even then, I was still trying to say, Doc, you know what? I'm still healthy. I feel good. I was urinating. He said, looking for signs that you're not urinating. You're not, there's certain things that the body will give out. If you stop urinating, if you start feeling like agitated, there were certain things, but my body couldn't tell the difference because it was so healthy because I would be in the gym so much. So what I felt good was actually my body used to it feeling completely normal, ill, if you understand what I'm saying,
Yeah.
So my illness was already normal because for 8 years I had already been fighting it. So my normal of me feeling healthy, my blood work said I was really sick. Make sense?
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just felt really, 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 really healthy. But every time I go in, they said, Mark, you got about a month and a half. Your creatinine level already at 20. He said, you need to get a kidney donor now. And I said, you know what? All right, well, we're trying. So, we're waiting for this whole idea, and then, me and my girlfriend end up going into a comedy store, and I was like, babe, I don't feel good. I think we need to go back home. So midway to the trip, we're going from Studio City to Long Beach, which is about a 45 to an hour drive. 20 minutes into the drive, we turned back around and said, I can't go. I feel like crap. I just don't feel well. So we go back home. I rush to the bathroom. I throw up twice. I was like, oh my God, there's something going on. And I pass out.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Yeah, I text my fiance. I said, babe, you got to come into the house because she was still in her car. I had to rush in. I passed out on the ground, and I said, babe, it's an emergency, and she checked her phone, and then she ran inside, and she got hysterical because she's never seen me on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at that very point, kidney failure had taken over my whole body,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And it was an experience that I couldn't understand because my body just had completely given out. There was no sense of, like, I can hold on. I mean, I was pushing weights every day, 50 pounds, 150 pounds. I was really, really hitting weights. I couldn't hold my body up. So at that point, I knew my kidney failure had completely taken over my body. This was August 13th, 2000, and this was a year and a half ago. So 2018, 2017, yeah. And we go into the hospital, and I knew that I was going to get on dialysis that weekend. I was just like, it's a Saturday. Come Monday, if my doctor sees me, he's going to put me on dialysis, no question. So I'm in the hospital. I'm in the hospital for 2 days before. I mean, it was Saturday, so I waited Saturday, Sunday, and they kept injecting me with saline, which will rehydrate me. And I didn't realize how dehydrated I was.
Oh.
Because by the time the doctor came in, they had given me 7 bottles of saline.
Wow.
I mean, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yes, it is.
You know, so they gave me 7 saline bottles, and I was like, Doc, I'm feeling amazing. I feel great. I don't think I need dialysis, but I was just trying to trick myself and saying that, you know, I feel better because you put 7 bottles of saline, you're completely healthy, you're completely like hydrated, and you have all the energy in the world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So come Monday, I just knew my doctor was going to come in and he's going to say, I'm going to put you on dialysis. And he came in at 8 a.m. I remember it was Monday morning, 8 a.m. And I knew I was the first patient because 8 a.m. is when they clock into the hospital. Mr. Coronel, I remember Dr. Stuart Freak came in and he said, what did I tell you? I told you had a month left before you got on dialysis. He said, I can't prolong you not being on dialysis anymore. I need to get you on there. Your body is complete. You want to die? I mean, you can leave now, sign these papers, but you're going to die. You're going to die within the next couple months if you don't get this treated. I mean, we had that open dialogue where he was just telling me straight up what it was. He said, look, I've waited long enough for you to get a kidney transplant, prolonged dialysis, and this is the time. We have to make the decision now. And I would still fight it, Doc. Are you sure? He said, no. He said, there's no way. Your creatinine levels are way too high. Your phosphoruses are way too high. Your bone density is starting to get really, really low. I mean, you need to get on dialysis. We need to clear your body. The toxins are taking over your body 100%. I said, oh, my God. So at that point, I got really scared. I said, oh, my God, what am I going to do now? This is my life. What's it going to consist of? What is this? What is it going to do? How is it going to change my life? Because all I did was Google what dialysis was, you know. And I'll tell you down the story of how my life has changed. But that moment in time, that depression, that anxiety hit its high time peak because you're going on dialysis. You just don't know what that experience is like. You don't know what blood going out is like. You don't know what it's like going back in. So I needed to understand what I was going through. And on my way to getting this catheter port, which is a temporary port that goes to your chest into your heart, I needed to figure out, oh my God. So now I thought a dialysis port is something that goes onto your arm. He said no, because if you get that on your arm, it takes 3 months to heal. So even if we did the surgery, we can't even put that through your arm yet because it has to, they call it mature. And in order for it to mature, we have to wait 3 months in order for your veins to actually be locked into the actual thing connected to your arm. I said, so how are you going to put this dialysis port? We're going to put a temporary one that goes through your chest into your heart. I said, oh my, I mean, imagine a doctor telling you that we're going to connect a tube that goes straight into your heart and you can't get it wet, you can't take a shower, because if you get any water onto it, it's going to get infected.
Yeah, and for someone who's been healthy their whole life, this whole process had to have been
Right.
quite a shock.
So what happens is this. So you walk into a dialysis center, and the first thing you do is you have to weigh yourself. There's, because they want to know how much liquid they need to take out, right? So when you go in there, you're greeted by a nurse, and they tell you, go weigh yourself. So you get on, and everything is by kilos. So my dry weight is 62 kilos at its point. So I'm at 62 kilos when I leave, when my dialysis treatment is done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I go in, if I come in at 64 kilos, they know they have to take out 2 kilos of liquid out of my body because that's how much I drank between the times that I didn't do dialysis, right?
Wow.
Right.
And
so
that's very, very precise, and you really, I think for the average person, their body mass might vary a little bit, but I think you being in the shape you're in, it's probably a lot easier with you because they can actually see how much. Wow, that's incredible.
Right. So when you go, when you're actually on the dialysis, when you're on the weight, you're like, oh, because you start to understand your body way more. I mean, I was in tune with my body prior to getting on dialysis, but I wasn't so in tune to how I am now. So I know that. So my average drinking of water a day is a cup a day. Can you believe that?
No.
A cup.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I couldn't. So when I have to eat my meals, when I go out to eat meals, I have to drink. When they give you your glass of water, which I'm pretty sure it's pretty standard throughout the whole nation, I can drink half of that cup of water per meal.
Oh, wow.
Per meal, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's including with my medications that I have to take while I eat, because you have to take medications while you're on dialysis and while you eat, because your phosphorus, they want to make sure that your phosphorus levels decline. They don't want to make sure it's too elevated.
Okay.
So they give you phosphorus binders to make sure that, you don't become itchy or something like that, because one thing that the dialysis machine doesn't take out is phosphorus.
Oh, okay.
As much,
Mm-hmm.
So you're on a dialysis machine for 3 hours. So for me, for instance, it's 3 hours. They hook you up. They have to put in heparin to. So what I didn't know about dialysis is you don't just put a machine. You're not connected just to a machine. They have to put heparin to thin out the blood so they can go through the machine and back into your body. And every hour there's continuous heparin going in to thin your blood out so that it can go through the machine, in through the filters, and back into your body. Because once it goes out, it starts to forming clots because it's foreign object, right? Mm-hmm. So they use blood thinners to make sure that it's thin so it goes back into the body.
Wow.
And can you do something while you're there? Can you work on your laptop or watch TV or utilize your cell phone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I read a lot. I mean, I've never read this many books in my life. I mean, you got to understand, I've been on dialysis now for about a year and 2 months.
Okay.
And I've read 17 books. I've read 3 a month
for
the last month. Yeah, I mean, because you have 3 hours of just you time. And,
right.
And I think when people say you need to meditate, I think people on dialysis it's a little bit too much,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just, you're just there. You can't move. Your blood is just going in and out. They have a TV screen, but for me, an individual like me, I need to be stimulated.
Mm-hmm.
So reading a book, bringing my laptop, working, talking to other dialysis patients, because I've only been in it for a year and a half,
mm-hmm.
but you got to understand, I only literally have kidney failure, and this is one thing that I realize is that when people are really healthy, it's an ego thing of I'm bigger or I'm buffer. What's crazy about being sick is that I have kidney failure. I think I'm sick, but I look to the person to my left, and I'm saying, they also have diabetes and kidney failure,
mm-hmm.
and they're going to get their leg amputated.
Oh,
so I'm like, I am so blessed that I just have kidney failure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's such a crazy way of thinking, because that terminology that says no matter what you're fighting, someone
mm-hmm.
fights a harder battle
Sure.
is really true, because I go in there and I have kidney failure. Once I get out of dialysis, I'm stretching, I'm doing push-ups, I'm doing jumping jacks. They say I feel great, and people look at me like, wow, I wish I can do that.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's not a sense of like, oh man, I feel great, because a lot of us feel like crap anyway. But I still have all my organs functioning because I'm so active and I'm so in tune with my body. Make sense?
Yes.
But some people who are on diabetes are born with that and then ended up with kidney failure. You know, so and then that thing catches up, and then they have to get like a leg amputated. I mean, I didn't realize, but dialysis, being on kidney dialysis and diabetes, some of those people are amputees. Like, they end up cutting their legs off because the diabetes has caught up to them so much, and some have lost their eyesight. And I'm just so thankful that I just got kidney failure.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's really like stages when you're fighting these diseases, because you go into these treatment centers and you're like, wow, I got it bad to the outside world. But you come into a center or a world where people are sick, you're like, you're not that bad that you thought, you know?
Right.
So people are like, well, Mark, how do you stay so active and so healthy? And so come to my dialysis center. You'll get a different understanding of life, period.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Because the people around there have different illnesses that are quadruple more extensive than mine is. Mine is just literally kidney failure. My blood pressure has been completely stabilized. We do monthly labs and it's all stabilized. But I feel sorry for the other people that have to say, look, in the next 3 weeks we got to amputate your leg. You know, and that's all through kidney failure and dialysis.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Mark, if I can ask a question. Earlier you mentioned your diet, and also that you're a boxer and you tried to stay in tip-top shape with working out and all that, and especially with how you were eating. How has the kidney disease affected your diet since then, since the diagnosis? Since the
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No avocado.
Oh, and you're in California.
No avocado.
Did they threaten you to send you out of the state for not being able to eat avocado?
Right. Yeah, because all we eat here in California is like avocado toast.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the diet is it's changed, but it's something that I'm used to. You know what I'm saying? Again, that's where the discipline factor comes in. I think if I didn't have discipline growing up, I think it would be a tough transition.
Gotcha.
But it's like, don't eat salty foods, because if you eat salty foods and you digest that turns into water later on, and that's considered a liquid for the times that you're not on dialysis. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So no salty foods. Limit the phosphorus, the potassium, and anything dark liquid.
Okay. I picture people that are enthusiastic athletes that you would typically be consuming, bananas and avocados and all those foods that we consider healthy, but now everything's changed and those aren't the best choice for you.
But again, I'm dealing with the top dietitians where we can work around that. You know what I'm saying? You can find other sources. You don't necessarily need red meat to get your protein in. You can do a protein shake, or you can do like almonds or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, that will also give you the same nutrients. So I just have to do my homework and figure out what nutritional guidelines would I be able to digest and get the same amount of calories, the same amount of intake, and the same amount of recovery for my muscles that I use while I work out while being on dialysis. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
You turned into a chemist overnight.
Yep. Well, and
I mean, a chemist. Yes, right. A chemist, a doctor, an advocate. I mean, I'm so involved with the community, like awareness. Like I feel like I'm gonna be the next kidney awareness, like the brand person of that name. Like my name's gonna be that name of that person.
Yeah, Mr. Kidney.
Right, Mr. Kidney.
Yep.
Yeah, not Mr. Kidney, Mr. Coronel, who's fighting kidney. I want to be like, the Martin Luther King or one of those guys for kidney awareness.
Right.
What's really interesting about health, and what I realize is that not that many people want to open up about what they're going through. Right? So when you have someone like me who's so proactive, who says, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, this is who I am, take it for what it is, it inspires people to live their life better. You understand?
Right.
Yes.
Because what I've noticed and what I've came in contact with is a lot of people giving up because they think this is the end of it. But in reality, it isn't. Because if it wasn't for dialysis, I wouldn't know who I was, period. I wouldn't know who I am. I wouldn't know what made me happy. I wouldn't know how to relax. I wouldn't know how to live in the moment. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what dialysis did for me. So if you ask me, has dialysis been a blessing or a lesson in your life? It's really been a blessing.
Wow.
Because I've read so many inspirational books.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I've inspired more people than I've inspired and touched more people
Mm-hmm.
than even while I personal train. And bear in mind, I've seen hundreds of people. I'm one of the top trainers in LA. I'm a celebrity trainer. I train top. I work for Paramount Studios, Nickelodeon, MTV. So I see a lot of the talented people that come in who are really good at what they do. But this has given me a voice to share my authentic self where people can relate and say, wow, I understand what you're going through. You don't have to necessarily be a musician, but you can be a spokesperson to say, this is what I got, this is what I'm going through, and this is how I get over it, to make the next person move. Motivation moves mountains. Motivation makes someone with no legs do the marathon.
Right.
And you're certainly an inspiration.
Yeah. Let me ask you, if you don't have dialysis, your body can't get rid of the toxin, so the machine is actually getting rid of the toxins for you. Now, this isn't permanent, and eventually you're going to need a transplanted kidney either from someone else or from a cadaver. Are you listed on any of the organ sharing networks for a kidney transplant?
All right, so here's my story with that. I've been on dialysis now for 18 to 19 months. I've had a donor for every single month. I've had 19 people denied.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
Okay, I've had 19 people denied. For every month I've had somebody come in. So I was at Cedars-Sinai. They denied 12. Then I went to UCLA. I had 8 people because there was a segment on the news. This is how humanity works. I put my story out on the news. 8 people stood up and said, hey, I'm willing to give you a kidney.
That's
Complete
fantastic.
strangers. Went straight to the doctors. Some even came from out of town. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Under HIPAA regulations, they cannot tell you who are the donors, but
Sure.
they just say, look, you have this many people.
Mm-hmm.
I said, are they LA-based? They said, some are coming from out of state. So just hold on. We're doing the best that we can. We're going to try to get you a kidney. So I got hopeful again. I got hopeful that 8 people stood up because 12 people, when you get 12 people that's going to give you a second chance in life, the emotion of roller coaster that you go through, I mean, talk about being strong now. I will never have this mental six-pack that I've developed in my mind can never be I can't sell it in a book. I can't sell it to people. I can only say, look, just keep going or doing that. But the mental six-pack that I've gained mentally from the emotional roller coaster of being denied, accepted, has made me into like some powerful, like ambitious individual that says, you know what, I can't be stopped. I've already survived my worst days 100%. What else can this life have to offer me?
Right. There's not much worse than that. Right.
There's nothing else. There's nothing else. So my sister's best friend goes in first. She was like, look, I'm going to try to get in. Let me try to see if I'm a match. So out of 19 people, this girl who's our family friend goes in, and she is a siblings match. You know what that means?
She's as close as one of your siblings.
Right?
She's closer than a sibling.
Oh, wow.
Right? So the doctor calls us and say, hey, this is very unique. Your family friend, this is no relation.
Mm-hmm.
She's not even, I mean, we met her in middle school. My sister's friend does the blood work and says, you guys have a sibling match. You know, that only a sibling can give you a kidney like this.
Mm-hmm.
This good, you know? People can donate their kidneys and it's not as good, or you'll be denied some way or another, you know? They'll find any reason to deny you. So that's another thing with the transplant center and why 18 people were denied, but that's another story. But back to this one. So she went in there and she was like, I'm a sibling match. And I said, oh my God, I'm hopeful. So coming Tuesday, the Tuesday coming out, this next Tuesday, I'll find out the dates that we're going to be getting the kidney transplant.
Oh my God!
great.
You waited until now to tell us that? Oh, for crying out loud, Mark.
Oh, we are so happy for you.
Oh.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're going to have to hear back about this.
Oh my God.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
That is. For other people who haven't found a match, there is something called matchingdonors.com. I don't know. Did you go through that service as well?
I go through the UNOS.
Okay.
I mean, there's just so many different. There's the National Kidney Foundation.
Right.
There's the American Kidney Association.
Yeah, this
There's
is just
many
this
outlets.
Matching Donors is a private foundation where people that are looking for an organ can post their story, and other people can go through and pick and choose.
Well, and they can also just find out if they're a match for anyone, because I guess they do, like if there's 8 people, 4 people that need a kidney, 4 people that are willing to donate a kidney, the individual pairs don't match, they can do actually a kidney exchange. It's like a gift exchange where they will take, one kidney out of one person, put it in somebody they didn't know, take a kidney out of another person, so it's truly amazing and rather complex and really unusual, but we are just thrilled beyond words.
And actually, we're so happy for you, but do want to let you know that Lita over here in studio, she's very humble, but she actually is a kidney donor herself.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I met my kidney buddy. His name is Rodney. He's a fireman from downstate Illinois, and I met him on Matching Donors. And I think it's a great way to bring attention to the needs of those awaiting kidneys or portions of livers. Because if, let's say it's a child and needs a liver, a person could donate a portion of their liver because, your liver will grow back and the child only needs a little portion. So, yeah, I really like matchingkidneys.com. Matchingdonors.com.
Matchingdonors.com. And actually, that was all inspired by the fact that I was meant to be a bone marrow donor. And then it turned out I wasn't allowed to do it because of a prior surgery that I'd had. So that inspired my mom to go out and donate as well. So we do understand what you're going through with the matchers, the people signing up to donate, and then they're not actually eligible or it isn't a good match. Right. It does happen. It's a rough process. Do you participate in any support groups or organizations that help with people who are going through dialysis? I know you're a huge advocate. Are there any specific groups or organizations that you'd like to give a shout out to?
The National Kidney Foundation, the NESCure Foundation, the George Lopez Foundation. Those are all organizations that I personally worked with. Mm-hmm. I was just given the Hero Award from the National Kidney Foundation last weekend for the kidney walk.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. The NESCure Foundation focuses on FSGS particularly.
Okay.
And they do a lot of clinical trials for people with that. And the George Lopez Foundation is to raise awareness for, kidney disease, because George Lopez actually got a kidney from his ex-wife, and he gives back to the Painted Turtle for the kids, which is a summer camp for kids who fight kidney failure.
Okay, and I know they have a big golf outing every year that
raises money.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's fantastic. Right. Thank you.
So they raise money for that, and
Okay,
that's great. Well, Mark, we would like to thank you for joining our show today. Do you have any last-minute tips, hints, or suggestions to others that might be starting dialysis?
Yeah, you guys got to keep your head up, okay? No matter what the problem is, someone's fighting a harder battle, okay? It doesn't take overnight for you to conquer this disease. The war is the kidney failure. It's a small battle that you got to be thankful for, okay? We're already in this war. We're already here to fight it. Just get ready for the fight, because it's going to be a tough one. You guys have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
Yes.
Marc, before we let you go, where can our listeners find out more about you? Do you have a website? Earlier you mentioned Instagram. Any other social media accounts?
So I have a company called Lifestyle Athletics, which is a multifaceted company that focuses on self-improvement. So again, I'm a personal trainer. I don't really promote my kidney disease on there. I promote people to stay healthy. But if they want to follow me, it's kidney_fighter_, and they'll be able to catch me on there, and we can chat, and you can see what my day-to-day is like,
Oh, sounds great.
The kidney_fighter_ is that on Instagram?
That's on Instagram, correct.
Okay.
And we'll have links to your accounts as well on our website.
Right, so it's kidney_fighter_, and my company name is called Lifestyle Athletics.
Okay.
Perfect.
And this episode we'll post on Christmas Eve, and you'll be probably healing up by then.
Yes, and we'll have to hear how everything's going. We're so excited.
And now, just to let you know, your next battle is going to be being a transplant recipient. And you can listen to a couple of our episodes on that, because you're going to have to be on different medications now.
Which is very complex, and it's really good to have someone there to walk you through all of that and to hold your hand, because sometimes it can be so overwhelming. Your mind kind of just says, I don't need to take all these pills, do I? So it's really good to have somebody walk through all of that with you. And also, we found that you have to clean your house and be so careful about diseases after the fact that
even the common cold can take you out. So you're going to be careful.
And
I'm going to send you a link for an episode that we recently did on a transplant patient. You might find it interesting.
And Marc, thank you again for speaking with us today. We really hope that bringing your story to our listeners will help other patients just like you. And but also maybe folks will get out there and get registered to be a donor. It can be simple as going to your Department of Motor Department of Motor Vehicles, or going online and making sure that you've signed up to be a donor. And like they say, you can't take it with you, so
that's right.
You might as well pass it along, recycle those organs.
That's right. And
right.
And better yet, don't wait until you've gone to see the light. You have to share your spare. I did. That wraps up this episode. If our listeners have any questions or comments related to today's show, they can contact us at PodcastDX@yahoo.com, through our website, PodcastDX.com, on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, or Instagram.
And if you have a moment to spare, please drop us a line and let us know what topics you'd like us to cover on future episodes. As always, please keep in mind that this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking a new healthcare regime. And never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you've heard on this podcast.
Till next week.